Hi, this is Edmund, BIT265 SkipList video. I'll be presenting this myself, try and go through adding the values 9 of a height of 1 and 15 of a height of 1. So first of all, the first value that we're going to add in is the 9. So let's put 9 here. So this is the new SkipList node that we're going to add in. That's the, maybe we should put it here actually. The key is 9, and we're going to start at the head list here. So I is equal to the list.max height, which is 4. And we're going to start at the top. So we know that the key is equal to 9. And we start at 4. So while the current forward at 4 dot, which is follow this line, which actually points to the sentinel value, is when we look at the while loop, is that value less than the key? So the key is 9. I'm going to put 9 here. Is the value plus infinity less than the key? It is not. So we skip this and we update here to be equal to the head list. I'm just going to put 9 here as we go ahead. Decrement I by 1. So now I is 3. And we go through this loop again. Is cur is now here now. So cur was at 4 initially. Now cur is at 3. Is cur dot forward I, which is 3, dot, which is pointing to this value, which again is equal to the plus infinity. Is that value less than 9? It's not, so we skip this again and we update this here to be here. Okay. Then we decrement by 1 again for I. So I is now equal to 2. Again, we have a look. 2 is pointing to 20 now. So cur dot forward, cur, which is here. So cur is here now. Cur dot forward dot I, which is 2, dot, which is pointing to this value of 20 now. So its value is now 20. Is 20 less than 9? It's not. So again, we don't run this code, and we set I now to be equal to cur, which is still the head list. Still the head list here. Okay, this. Back to the head list again, decrement I by 1. So I is 1 now. Is cur dot forward, which is here. This is cur now. Is that cur dot forward of I, which is 1, dot, which is pointing to this value now, is 10 less than 9. 10 is not less than 9, so we skip this, and again set the updates. Should I add one more? Set the updates to cur, and then we decrement I by 1 again. So I is 0. And we can see immediately that is exactly at this point. When I was 1, it's going to be exactly the same as I is 0. Where 10 is going to be, it's not going to be less than 9. We're not going to run this, and at this point, we have basically set the updates here. We then move on to the for loop at the bottom. And now we're going to add our key, which is 9. The max height in our case is 1. And so we're going to set, we're basically going to place our node here, just between, because of the height of 1, it's going to be here. And it's going to be between the headless at 0 and this node, which has a key of 10. Let me just change my pen. I'm going to take this out. So what we're going to do is, let me just change the color of my pen. Right. Set the new nodes forward. Set the new nodes forward at 0, because I is 0 at this point. Set the new nodes forward to be the update 0 dot forward of 0. Remember, this refers to this here, and similarly to linked next, so that this here was pointing to that, but now we're going to say we want your new SkipList node to point to the 10 instead. So I'm just going to, this is our new SkipList node, and we're going to say, right, you're pointing to 10 instead. So that's what that line means. And then what we're going to do is we're going to update. Let me just clean this up now. And then we're going to update this, which is essentially this. We're going to update that to point to our SkipList node. So now this will now point to our new SkipList node. And there we go. We've added the 9 here. Between the 0, minus infinity, 9, and then 10. So that's how we added the 9. I'm going to go, because I have time, I'm going to go for the 15 now. So now the key is now 15. We're going to reset I to be 4, because it's the list.max height, which is the head list. And we're going to start things again with the for loop. So here, I is equal to 4, the key is equal to 15. Let me put 15 here. I is equal to 4. We have a look at this one, and we say, okay, is the current dot forward of at level 4, index 4, dot whatever that points to, is that value, which is plus infinity. Is that value less than 15? It's not. So we skip this part and we update this one to be this one here. And at this point we decrement by 1. I decrement 9 by 1. So I is 3. Okay, next one. So at current cur is equal to here now. When I was equal to 4, it's going to be exactly the same as when I was equal to 3. When we look at it, it's identical. So here we look and say, okay, whatever this is pointing to, which is pointing to the plus infinity, that's the value it's pointing to. Is that less than 15? It is not. So we cross again here. So again, we update the updates to be cur. So tie this up now. So we've got that one, which is pointing to this one. And now we're going to move cur down to here. We're going to, because obviously we decrement I by 1, as indicated there. Now I is equal to 2. I is equal to 2. So now we're looking at this node here. and we're going to say cur.forward at level 2 dot, which is pointing to the next value, which happens to be this one now. So it's pointed to that. Now, what we're going to say is that value is 20. Is 20 less than 15? 20 is not less than 15. So we're going to skip this, and we are going to say that that points to this one here. So nothing changes there. Take that. Okay, now again, go back to the for loop, the while loop, decrement I by 1. So I is 1 now. So now we're pointing here, where I is 1. We then look at whatever the current cur.forward of 1 dot, which is wherever it's pointed to, which is pointing to 10. So that value is 10. Now, is 10 less than 15? In this case, it is. So we are going to run this bit of code for the first time. So now what we're going to say is, basically, this is now going to point to, we're going to go cur.forward at level I, at index I. So whatever, so this is cur. Cur is now going to be equal to what cur.forward was, which happens to be this node. So now we're going to say cur. So cur was currently like 1 here. But now we're going to say, right, you're going to be equal to cur.forward, which is now this one here. So it's going to be equal to at index 1 when the key is at 10. That's just how I'm going to write it. So we're going to say that like, this one is now equal to this one here. And at the next iteration, we're actually going to be starting from here. So just note that we are at this point at this level now. Okay, so now we're going to decrement, and once we've done that, we update. That's where we update here to be equal to cur, which is at this point here. That's what I meant. So now we're going to decrement by I again. So I is 0. So I is 0 here. And we are not going to start here again because updates is now at this point here. So we're going to start from here now. And we're going to say, right, is cur.forward, cur.forward at index 0 dot, which is pointing to the 20. So this value here is 20 now. Is 20 less than 15? It's not. So we're going to ignore this. But we are going to say that this here is pointing to here throughout this level. And basically we're at this final level here. So now we break out of this loop and we go to the next for loop. So we set I is equal to 0. Again, our point, our height is equal to 1. So this is equal to 1. So now we're going to say, right, the new SkipList node that we have, right, I want whatever you're pointing to. So this new SkipList node, which is our key is 15. Let me just write that again. SkipList. But it's equal to 15. Okay, we're going to say, right, whatever you're pointing to, I want you to point to whatever the updates here at 0, what this was, update 0 dot, whatever that was pointing to at 0, I want whatever this was pointing to be here. And if we look at this node here, this node was pointed to the 20. So we're going to say, right, you're going to be pointing to the value of 20 now. And that's that part done. And then this code is going to say, right, so what about this node? Okay, before it was pointing to 20, what is this node going to point to now? And we're going to say, right, you are now instead at 0, 0, you're now going to point to the new node. So now, whatever that value, that node was at index 0, it's a bit messy, and now you're going to point to the new skip node, skip list. So if I were to draw it out here, let me just type this up as well. So now what we're going to say is, oops, I'm going to say, okay, so now put in a new node. So again, the new skip list node value is 15. Again, we look at this bit of code here. This skip list node's next pointer is pointing to whatever this originally pointed to. So that this originally pointed to the 20, but now we're going to say the new skip list node points to the 20 instead. And then we're going to say, right, update this now to point to the new node, which will be pointing to here. And this is how we add the key new node of 9 and the new node of 15. Hi, this is Edmund again, and this is my searching on the skip list. So I'm just going to do values 10 and 30. So we'll make a start. So we are looking for the value 10, and I is the height of our list here, which is 4. And we begin on this curve here, which is 4. So as long as I, which is 4, is greater than or equal to 0, which is, we go through the while loop. So we say if the cur dot forward of I is 4 dot is wherever it's pointing to next this value, which is plus infinity, is that less than the search key? Our search key is the value that we're looking for, which is 10. Is that less than our search key? It's not. So we skip that and we go back to the for loop where we decrement I by 1. So now I is 3. And now we are going to be searching from here. So I is 3 now. Again, go through the while loop. Cur dot forward at 3 dot value, which is exactly the same as index 4, is plus infinity. Is that less than the search key of 10? It is not. So again, we break out of this here and we decrement I by 1. So I is 2. Now we check we are here. And we say, well, cur dot forward at 2 dot, which is wherever it's pointed to that value. So this value now is 20. Is 20 less than 10? It is not. So we do not run that bit of code and we decrement I by 1 again. So I 2 minus 1 is 1. And then we go again to this node here at 1. So I is 1. Cur dot forward at 1, which is here. Dot value of next is 10. So this value is 10. Is 10 less than 10? No. And we're not looking for less than or equal to. So this is again no. We're not going to run this. And we decrement I again to be 0. So now I is 0 is I greater or equal to 0. It is. And we check if cur dot forward at 0 dot value, which is exactly the same as what happened when I was equal to 1. So again, this is not going to work as well, where 10 is not less than 10. And at this point, when we decrement I again to be -1, we actually break out of this while loop, for loop. Now we are running this bit of code, and we're going to say, okay, cur, which is here, which is when it's at 0, cur is now going to be equal to whatever is pointing next to, and this one is pointing to this node here, where that value is actually 10. So we can just imagine like this is what it's pointing to. And now this is what cur is now. So cur is now, this is cur now. Now we're going to say, right, if cur.value, which is now 10, is exactly equal to the target of what we're looking for, which is here, then we're going to return found. And at this point, yes, we have found 10. So that's how we found 10 there. If that value was not 10, then that would mean that that value would be plus infinity, and the system would just error out. Okay, so we do have 10 in our skip list. So just quickly, we're going to do 30 as well. So let me just change that one to 30. And we're going to reset this one back to 4 again. I'm just going to clean this up. So quickly again, I is equal to 4 now. Cur, we're going to be starting at this current node. Cur.forward at 4.value is infinity. Infinity is not less than such key, so we skip that. Decrement I by 1, so I is 3. Exactly the same as when I was at 4. So again, we skip that because it's going to be minus infinity again, which is not less than our search key. Decrement I by 1, so I is 2 now. So now we're going to say, right, here, cur.forward at 2 dot, which is whatever it's pointed to, that value, which is 20. Now, is 20 less than 30? At this point, yes, it is less than 30. So before we moved down here, it wasn't there, it wasn't there. Now this time, what we're going to do now, because we have found a node where the value is less than 30, we're now actually going to move cur across to that one. And to do that, let me just tie this up. And to do that, we are now going to be running this bit of code here. We're now going to be running this bit of code here where we can say, right, the current cur, I want you, current cur, which is here, I want you now to be the cur.forward at level 2, which is the, whatever we were pointing to next. That's what I want the next cur to be. So now cur originally, if I put cur here, cur originally was here. But now we're going to say cur is now starting from here now. And actually, that's probably one of the biggest benefits of using the skip list, where we can just ignore all this now. Again, we go back to the for loop. Once we've done that, go back to the for loop. And we decrement I by 1. So I is 1 now. And now, again, cur, if we look at cur again, we are looking at here. This is what we're looking at. Let me try another color. Let me tie this up. So cur is pointing to this one now. You have to remember this block. So now we're looking at when I is 1. While cur.value at 1, that value, so whatever this value is, whatever it's pointing to is 40. Is 40 less than 30? It's not. So we are not going to run this bit of code, and we're going to decrement I by 1 now. So I is 0. So we are still on this block here, but now we're here. We're looking at here. Now we're going to say, right, this node, this cur.forward at 0, the value, which is the value of whatever it's pointed to, which is 30. Is 30 less than 30? Technically, no. So we don't run this bit of code. And now we decrement I to be -1. is -1 greater or equal to 0? It's not. So now we break out of this. And now we're going to be running this bit of code here. So again, cur is pointing to here now. And now we're going to say, right, cur is going to be equal to whatever cur is pointing to next. So this cur is actually pointing to 30. So this cur here, at when I is equal to 0, this one is pointing to 30 where I is equal to 0. So now we're going to say, right, cur now is going to be this one, which is this node. This is what cur is going to be equal to. Now we check this bit of code and say, right, is cur.value equal to the target? 30 is equal to 30, and there we go. We found 30 as well. So that's how you do a search on a skip list.